Yo guys, what's going on? Robert Warshack here, and I just got done playing 10 hours of the new mini set. We played a lot of Warrior, and we played a decent amount of Hunter. We queued into a lot of decks. We have a lot of games under our belts, and I'm gonna go over the top 5 decks that I've seen so far and ones that we played. So, a lot of people playing the Highlander Hunter. Got a lot of new cards that function really well in the deck and synergize with what it already had going on. It has a ton of secrets, so we play every secret in the deck, especially the new one, which is a huge draw mechanic for the deck, which is a 2 mana after your opponent plays a minion, spell, or weapon, draw a card of the 2 other types. This gives Hunter the capability of being able to keep their hand full of stuff to do every turn and being able to curve out. As you can see here, the deck has a very, very good early game, followed by mid game that's pretty consistent given the amount of draw and search that it has with stuff like Tracking, and then the late game is pretty disgusting as well. So like I mentioned, we run all of the secrets. From there, we even run the Observer of Mysteries, which casts 2 random secrets at the start of your turn, destroy them. You're going to get Hunter secrets from this or Mage secrets, and the important part of this is the secrets first of all triggering and going off, because it works in tandem with the new 5 mana 4/4 Mech Beast Battlecry. Recast every friendly secret that triggered this game. So if you get like a Mage secret like Counter Spell or Ice Barrier, it'll recast every Hunter secret that triggered this game as well. So you pretty much get 3 to 5 secrets when you play Product 9, which is insanely sick. We run the Mystery Egg. This is good because it gets a copy of a random beast in your deck. It costs 5 less. So Project 9 will cost 0, and it'll give you all your secrets back. You can hit your Tyrannosaurus, which will turn into a 2 mana 7/7 rush, deal 7 when it dies, and then you'll also hit your King Plush. So there's quite a few good beast options with the egg. With it being a Highlander deck, of course you run the Reno and you run the Lost. This deck did really, really well against pretty much everything, but Paladin gave it a pretty hard time, and we'll cover that after this. We have Rainbow DK following it up. Again, got some pretty cool stuff. It got the new Toy Snatching Geist, which is a 3 mana 2/1 undead. Gigantify, so you get an 8 mana 8/8 copy of it. Battlecry, discover an undead, reduce its cost by this minion's attack. So the first one you get is reduced by 2, and then the second one is reduced by 8. That's pretty good. Scrolling down at the next one, it's going to be the Foam Render, which is a 5 mana 5/1 weapon. Whenever your hero attacks, spend 3 corpses, gain 1 durability. So you deal 5 every turn forever, unless your opponent removes this from the game. You just keep attacking with this because this deck has infinite corpses, and being able to spend corpses is really good, of course, with the Chromatic Necrotic Explosion, which is your game ender with the 10 mana lifesteal, deal 6 damage, summon 3 2/2 souls, and then randomly improve for each corpse you spend. So you want to be playing minions, having them die, corpse generation. You're doing tons of damage with the Foam Render. So with the Foam Render now, you actually don't run the one that freezes, because you can just get the freezing one, the one that puts plagues in your opponent's deck, or the Foam Render from the Runes of Darkness. Like, you're going to get one of those 3 weapons, and all of them are good. So, like, you don't need to play the weapon when you can just spend corpses and then get an improved version of any of those sick weapons. And as soon as you get, like, one of these down, unless they vibrate, it's never going to go away. So, like, playing a whole bunch of weapons doesn't really matter when the weapon, it lives forever. And then of course you run the standard like Plague package in this deck. This deck didn't really change too much, but it did get this new weapon and this new Geist. Moving down to all Spell Mage, it got a really, really impactful card. Not a ton of cards, but really impactful for the all spells. That's gonna be the Malfunction. It's a 2 mana, deal 3 damage, split among all enemy minions. If your deck has no more minions, deal 3 more. So it's a 2 mana, deal 1 damage 6 times for 2 mana. Really, really good. And now Void Scripture, you have something to search for on turn 4. A lot of the times you could only look for Heat Wave. You know, Fire Sale isn't in the mix anymore. There was no really any good early game AoE, and now Mage got Malfunction. And the problem with this Mage deck wasn't the fact that it didn't have good late game, it's that you couldn't live long enough to play stuff like Yogg in the Box, to play stuff Malfunctioning Era, to be able to discount your Sunset Volleys, discount the Yogg, discount the Projection Orb, to be able to play these cards that win you the game. So now you have a very, very good early game with this card, and this deck, in my opinion, it got a lot better from this card alone. However, keep in mind that with this deck, you are like, Yogg in the Box could do great things for you. I've seen this card win the game. It has won the game on the spot versus me. However, sometimes, you know, it's a very high RNG deck, because most of these cards in the deck create random cards or do random things, but that's currently just what Mage does. All right, so we covered 3 decks running new cards. Unfortunately, about 95% of the games I played today were queued into people playing absolutely zero new cards and just playing the old good decks because, you know, they're good decks, and why play new cards when you could just play old decks that are currently better, because it's going to take some time to refine the new stuff or figure out the decks that they're going to be good. A lot of people think the Deep Miner brand going to 8 is a big deal. While it is less good, the card still does exactly what the card does, which is if your deck started with no duplicates, your Battle Cries trigger twice for the rest of the game. That never changed. The card still does exactly what it does. And a lot of the games that you played against Warrior, you know, maybe they didn't coin brand on turn 6 or 5 or whatever. You know, a lot of the games they did play it on turn 8 or 9 anyway, and then they still get the double Ignis, they still get the 6 bombs with Bomb Boss, they still get the 3 or 4 Zilliaxes, they still kill you with Dr. B. It still does the same thing. You know what I mean? It just takes a little bit longer, but Warrior is a control deck, and it's not gonna die. It has tons of removal in this deck. It has a million ways to remove stuff, right? So like, while it did make the deck less good, by no means is the deck bad or unplayable. It's still one of the best, if not the best deck in the game. A lot of questions on Highlander Warrior today. We queued into a lot of people playing Highlander Warrior, and it did the same thing it's always done, and it kills any sort of other control deck because of Bomb Boss. You can't beat that card. It's impossible. And then moving down to Flood Paladin, this was about 60% of my games today. Was this just throw up on the board Paladin deck, and then you get Crusader Aura, and then you just win. So one of the easiest, if not the easiest deck you could possibly play right now. You play the green cards, and they're really, really good, and you just keep playing cards on the board until your opponent can't kill absolutely everything on the board, and then from there you just win. That's how this deck works. And if you don't win on board, well, then you can just play Leroy. You got Crusader Aura, you run some buffs, you buff Leroy, you do like 10 damage in the face, no problem. So if you haven't managed to snag the mini set yet, you know, haven't played with any of the new cards, the throw up Paladin and the Highlander Warrior, no new cards in them, and those are the best decks in the game, followed by, like I said, with the 3 most popular decks I saw today, which was the Highlander Hunter, the Rainbow DK, and the All Spell Mage. If there's any decks I didn't cover that you think are on the rise, let me know. Put the deck in the description and I'll check it out. But this is what I saw today, 10 hours deep, and it was something. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next video, of course. I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.